Yo, yo, yo. Thanks for checking out the video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you like the content so you get more of the content in the future. And without any further ado, let's get right into the video. This is my outlook for the week coming up here for AMC, the week of September 20th, 2021. This is going to be kind of the expectations that I have, what kind of movements I'm expecting, and where we might be in the pattern that has been repeating with AMC stock thus far from a technical perspective. So this is what I'm seeing. If we zoom in here, I know a few days ago, a lot of people have seen my video where I talk about a potential bull trap scenario that could be playing out, and I think that it's still playing out. Well, obviously, because I posted that Friday evening, and we haven't had a trading day since. But basically, what that bull trap potentially looks like is we've just broken a significant long-term bull trend on the logarithmic scale, right? And so bulls have been rather euphoric. I'm sure that if you follow me on Twitter, you've seen a lot of this. A lot of people talking about how the bulls are winning and blah blah blah. I got rocket emojis coming from people who are. I mean, the bears are winning. Rocket emojis coming from people who are bearish on the stock. Which is fine. It's fine to be a bear. I respect everybody's trade thesis or whatever. That's fine. But I mean, I think it's overall pretty hysterical because obviously the stock is in a very strong bull trend. And obviously with a very strong bull trend comes more and more bearish sentiment because as price continues to go up, people will say, well, it can't go any higher than this more and more. That's just how it works. So, and obviously, AMC gets plenty of media attention. It probably gets millions of impressions. AMC stock itself gets millions of impressions on social media per day. So, obviously, there's going to be a lot of talk in either direction when it comes to the stock. So, anyway, let's get back to the thesis. So, in that bear trap scenario, what I said was this is a bullish reversal pattern. So, basically, it's a reversal on a downtrend to turn back into an uptrend, and it's called a falling wedge, where basically price action is aggressively going down from the top, and then going down, but weaker and weaker as time goes on. Right, bears are able to get less and less pressure on the stock as time goes on. I am so used to charting on my phone; it's ridiculous. Follow me on Twitter if you want to see phone charts. They seem to like those there. So it could look anything like this. This is really more of a range, right? It's more just representing the overall trend that's happening from a bearish / bullish perspective on the stock. But yeah, clearly this is a falling wedge. And you'd probably draw it like this at this point. And this could break to the downside, but typically, more often than not, it breaks to the upside and signals a reversal to traders. So what am I expecting going into the week? Now, in order for a great bear trap to be a great bear trap, you need a few things, right? You need significant bearish indicators to be playing out on the chart, such as a break of a significant bullish trend line. You would need bearish patterns, such as perhaps a head and shoulders developing. Maybe it looks something like this, right? Or maybe I think actually, I do this every time with this head and shoulders. This play doesn't really respect head and shoulders too often, right? But we'll talk about that in another video. But it could look something like this with a head and shoulders, where you have some sort of bearish expectation coming out of, maybe it's this. Maybe this is the head and shoulders, right? And this signals downside. You also have what could be seen as a descending triangle off of this downtrend, but this is so aggressive to the downside. I really don't see this as a descending triangle. That's why I kind of lean towards the wedge. It just looks more like a wedge. Anyway, what you need is those bearish indicators to be happening, right? You have volume, low volume on the stock, right? All this bearish pressure. We've been feeding off of this more bearish trend line for such a long time in a stock that's supposed to have all these explosive moves, right? So bulls have been exhausted, right, over the course of this period. What a reversal looks like is you need all of those sorts of indicators. You need bears to be getting excited, right? Oh man, look at all this downside we could see here. And then the trap is set for them. And what happens is maybe a whale or some good news comes in and causes people to buy the stock, or a whale buys the stock and gets us back into this. Maybe you see a bounce and you get back into this sort of direction, right? So I say all that to say, what would that look like on this week, and what am I expecting? Well, personally, I'm bullish on the stock, so I tend to lean towards the bullish scenarios. Let me change the color of this so it's a little bit easier to see. And so what I would say is another great bearish indicator that could set up a pretty good trap is um, having a pattern like this that signals bullish reversal, break to the downside before breaking back up to the upside. And so what would that look like, right? And I'm not doing this to try and tell anybody to buy or sell at any given time. This isn't financial advice. This is just analysis on the stock and its price pattern. Um, but what I would say is, if you look at this most recent move, this retracement thus far has been actually pretty normal. A 0.382 on the Fibonacci is kind of the level that we're trading at. And so honestly, and I talk about Elliott Wave sometimes. This is a pretty typical to me. You have that double bottom down there, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then you could just have this, 1, 2, 3, ABC come down here, right? You have this correction finish off, and again, it could just stop here at this 43.50 level. It really could. This is a 0.382 is it's actually a rather bullish retracement, right? It signals to the market, oh wow, they stopped the selling here. That's pretty significant, especially if you're an Elliott Wave person, you would say, wow, this thing might start flying soon. But just because the bears got rejected so quickly, which is funny because everybody is crying right now about the stock, right? So on the bull side, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, obviously there was a lot of pain felt on the bullish side of this trade, right? On Twitter I see people freaking out because of the price action, but this has been a relatively normal retracement level. I mean, you just can't just go up forever. So, and it's because of this trend line. That's why the emotions are running so high. And that's why technical analysis works on this play, because you can actually see people's emotions playing out on the chart. Anyway, so what does that look like, right? I would say that I wouldn't have really, I wouldn't personally have any real concern, because I think that, you know, I'm bullish on the stock no matter what, right? So, and that's part of my trading thesis is I enter a trade, and I don't intend to leave the trade. So that is a key part of this thing, right? So everything has to come with context that I bought this thing in April, May area, $10 to $12 range, and I expected to sell this stock in to be honest with you personally, and this isn't financial advice again, but I expected to sell this stock in the three digits, 3 to 4 digits, at least, and I even have some sort of selling thesis that I'm developing, where I might be averaging out of my position and have some left over just in case we keep running like the stock has a potential to do past. Even up to $10,000, in my opinion, depending on the news and regulation and what can actually end up happening with the stock, right? But you always have. Me personally, I'm always going to protect myself by taking profit along the way. That's what a good trader does, and that's what I've done forever, and that's what I'm going to do. So anyway, everybody's going to call me a shill in the comments. That's fine. I'm not really worried about that. I'm a trader. That's what I do. I trade. I chart. That's what I do. So I say all that to say, if you could see this really big emotional push down, right? You could, the 0.618 is the most significant level. Okay, this is the golden ratio. Um, if you're not familiar with Fibonacci sequence, then I encourage you to look into it. But this is the golden ratio. So this is where you're going to see most of your moves conclude. I can probably give you a good example of that. Maybe here. Uh, sorry. Oh, all my lines are getting. So yeah, you can see here that the 1.618, which is the golden ratio, is has actually been the rejection point, right? So we traded above it for a second, and then the stock traded back down. So on the flip side, as a retracement, I would expect to see potentially move down here, potentially move down to the 0.786. And that would basically be the kind of points that I would look for where bears, I mean, look, this stock will be all over the news if this happens. If this thing breaks down to this $38 level, $34 level, even all the way down, and creates this dramatic triple bottom sort of scenario, and we'll talk about why this level is so significant in a second. The euphoria for bears would be absolutely insane. And I'm going to make a video as well about bearish scenarios and what bears are looking for. Again, I'm a bull on the stock, but I like to know what what the other side may be thinking. It keeps you balanced in your trade, right? But the euphoria would be insane, and I've talked about this a few times on my channel so far. But euphoria usually leads to reversal. Euphoria isn't realistic, right? At a certain point, bears who entered their position here at $50+ are going to be so far in the profit that they're going to say, okay, look, I've profited enough off of this trade. I'm going to go ahead and cover, and we're going to turn around. And I talk about that more in my mother of all bear traps video, which I can link up in the top right here. You can see a link probably popping up about that now. But euphoria works in both ways. When you have a crazy run up for bulls, right, you're more likely to see selling pressure. You're more likely to see downside in the short term, and create more of a bearish trend. That's what happened here. The same thing goes for bears. And many people who follow this trade, you should understand the concept that people who are short on the stock are just future buyers, right? So somebody buys here, and they become heavily profitable in their trade, and it comes down to this $35 level, whatever, they're going to cover. And that cover is buying pressure, right? Also, just regular people saying, oh, look, AMC's down to $35. Maybe I do want to buy a few shares, blah, blah, blah. It's going to cause buying pressure. And that's what's going to cause your next wave up. So what I'll say is, I don't think that I have a hard time thinking, just because of the recent momentum in the stock, that we're just going to bounce right up on Monday. Even with the good news of the NFL Sunday ticket at the theaters, things like that, I don't think that you're just going to see this euphoric bounce up all of a sudden and we're going to be back into this bull trend. But what I will say is, within a relatively short period of time, you're going to see a big move from this stock. And I tend to favor the theory that my personal belief about what's going on with the stock right now is that we have seen a impulse wave up, a 3, 4, 5, something like this, and that what we're seeing right now is just a normal retracement. And honestly, what I believe is that this is just one leg of a larger wave one. This is what I believe, right? That this is actually wave one, because this is how Elliott wave theory works. And then this is just wave two. We're retracing, and we're going to see a wave three, and then a 4 and a 5. That's what I think. That's what I believe about the stock. So in the next week, in the next 2 weeks, you should be seeing a big move here. And again, I'll have a bearish video up soon to kind of encapsulate what that might look like if it were to break to the downside. But what I will say is, even if it does break to the downside, you might just be establishing new trends. And I actually mentioned this in my macro bullish analysis that I'm going to be posting too, trying to pump these videos out. But let's say, for example, that the retracement goes down to, this, I don't know. Let's say it goes down to this $33 level, right? What does that look like? We have the $33 level. Boom. So let's just say that that's the case, right? Well, this trend line in the long-term bullish analysis could just possibly shift here. And to be honest with you, this is a more parallel and pretty channel. And when I mean, why would it? This is where buy pressure is. This is where market makers have the most money to be made when call options are getting eaten alive, and they can just stack up on call options, suck bears out of their position by taking shares to borrow off of the market, and cause this insane gamma squeeze type scenario that would then lead to, I mean, you would have so many factors at play. You would have shorter term shorts closing their positions to cover for profit, maybe losing their profit and trying to get what they can out of it. You have gamma squeezing because those shares to borrow go off the market, as well as you just have the natural price action and the Elliott waves playing out the way that they should, creating this upward pressure on the stock. That's what I believe is happening here in the next few weeks on the stock. And I could be wrong, like I said, and I'll talk about bearish thesis probably in a video that might be available for you to view, and I might tag right here. So in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all this love and support that we've received on the channel so far. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and turn your post notifications on so that you don't miss any videos. And until next time, thank you so much. Goodbye.